This episode is called Night of the Long Knives, even though it takes place on the border between India and Afghanistan. The actual event that carries that name happened in Nazi Germany about 50 years after the events we're watching here. Before anybody asks, I don't know why they did that. I do know one of those guys on horseback just creased Tony's skull with a bullet.
Tony!
The control room saw that. Obviously, this was before he joined KISS.
He's dead. Tony's dead.
Oh, now hold on, Ann. He can't be dead. If he were, we couldn't keep a fix on him.
That makes sense. Her time fixes May 1886.
Wait. You're losing the picture.
No, it's no use. The spatial fix is changing, and there's no way to stop it.
Tony's dead.
Dead, gentlemen. Dead. If we lose India, it means the death of the British Empire.
He says that like it's a bad thing. The tunnel had to shift our focus here so we can get an exposition dump about where our boys are and what's going on.
A revolt is already brewing along the northern borders. It could break out at any moment.
Mr. Gladstone, I disagree. And I believe that I speak for more than one member of this cabinet. If a revolt were to break out, a mere handful of mountain tribesmen could never stand up to Her Majesty's regulars. They would be crushed, sir, in short order.
And pip pip chitty-o, God save the king to you too, sir. He doesn't get that they're well-trained, well-armed, and angry. His Majesty's mustache says, then we have to send more troops. Gladstone says there's no time. There's only one way to stop this.
Our best hope is to play for more time to strengthen our forces, while doing everything within our power to forestall any attempt by those tribes to unite.
That's an impossible task, sir. Besides, there is nowhere to start.
I think he's arguing with everything because he has a pressing need to feel smarter than somebody else. His need is not being fulfilled.
Ah, but there is. Our most dangerous opponent is a certain very ruthless tribal leader called Hira Singh. His stronghold is here. A most strategic position. Contain Hira Singh, and we can prevent the uprising.
And guess what else? Little Mary Sunshine didn't do his homework before he started talking.
Well, there must be garrisons in the area.
One, sir. One fort. And that badly in need of reinforcement. If Singh attacks, they'll be overwhelmed. In short, gentlemen, India will be saved or lost. Right here, at the gates of the Khyber Pass.
Why? Because we have a movie in the vault called King of the Khyber Rifles, and we can use footage from it for free. Back on set, a passing traveler has found Tony and is helping him. The stranger can't believe how disoriented Tony is. He doesn't seem to know what country he's in or even what year it is. The garrison that Mr. Gladstone mentioned is nearby, Fort Allen it's called, so better get in there and get him some medical attention.
By the way, the year is 1886.
Thanks.
I didn't catch your name.
Newman. Anthony Newman.
Oh, I'm Kipling. I'm a journalist.
Yes, that Kipling. And no, I'm not going to do that old, obvious joke on the name Kipling. I wouldn't know how to kill him.
I bring water for the prisoner.
Over here.
Conji, you drink.
Thank you.
He quizzes the old man and learns that he's in Afghanistan, though he was captured in India. He's the guest of Hira Singh, the guy those British suits were talking about.
What's this?
Conji for the prisoner.
Who told you to speak to the prisoner?
No one, Sahib.
Useless dog.
I hope you were listening to his voice. There will be a quiz in a moment. The control room can't come up with any reason why they can't reestablish contact with Doug and Tony. They can't get the machinery to focus on anything but London.
There's one explanation. I'd just as soon not think of it yet.
Any explanation's better than none. What is it?
Really, General? You can't guess?
Our instruments would act this way under one condition I can think of.
All right, Ray. Out with it.
Are you really going to make him say it out loud?
If Tony and Doug were dead.
Well, there you go, General. Shut it down. Let's go home.
Now then, you say these brigands rode off with your friend?
and left me the way you found me.
That sounds like Hira Singh's work.
Who's he? Where can we find him?
Wherever there's trouble. And if you're thinking of dashing off to save your friend, forget it.
And let those people kill him?
Oh, no, we've got to try and save him, of course, but, well, we need help, and lots of it.
The fort?
Exactly.
Curious that he called it a beastly country, unless he means Afghanistan. He was born in India and spent much of his life there and liked it. But as we know, when men draw a line on a map, one side is often beastly while the other side is good.
It'll take at least a full troop of cavalry. Now, the colonel in command is not the brightest chap I've ever met, but, well, I think he's a good soldier, and I'm sure he'll pitch in.
Now, about that quiz I mentioned.
I said talk. Talk!
I don't know anything about the fort.
You're very stubborn, even for an Englishman.
I've told you. I'm not English, I'm an American.
I'm not deceived by your feeble lie. Tell the truth, and your death will be a much easier one. You are a spy from the fort, but what is your mission? What were you sent to learn?
All right, Atomaniacs, you've had enough time to look at him for all the good it does, and you've had a good sample of his voice. Without looking up his name, tell me, which Batman villain did he play?
What are you going to do?
Kill you, naturally. You will die painfully and slowly. Afterwards, you will be tied to a horse. The animal will carry you to the fort where they will react with righteous horror to what I have done to one of their countrymen.
Actually, they'll say, who's this guy and why did Hira Singh send him here?
Because I have come to understand your kind so well, I can picture the outrage on your colonel's face. He will call us bloody savages and swear revenge against us. He will send soldiers to carry out his threat. But they will never reach our camp.
An ambush.
Doug is the bait to draw them into the trap, even if the Brits don't have a clue who he is. With half the garrison killed in the ambush, they'll sweep over the fort and take it. That will be the signal to all the other tribes along the border to start the invasion of India and drive the British out.
101.
Have patience.
My scouts have brought me news. They've spotted a train of wagons heading toward Fort Albert.
Wagons. That means supplies for the garrison.
They also have to go through the pass, so he and his men will ambush them, too. Doug will have to wait his turn. I'm sure he's devastated. Those drums and bagpipes are especially useful in a firefight. We saw that in the episode about the War of 1812.
Well, Colonel, we need a rescue expedition to go in there immediately before he's killed.
I dare say you do, sir. However, the decision happens to be mine.
Colonel, do you mean you're going to let this man Phillips be murdered?
I don't wish to see anyone murdered, sir. However, I command a small force here, and its function is not to go rushing off wildly in all directions every time some traveler permits himself to be captured.
Kipling did say he wasn't the brightest candle in the chandelier. He flat refuses to send any help for Doug.
Do you want to see this border aflame from the Himalayas to the Arabian Sea?
I'll answer to the Queen for my actions, sir, not to your bloody newspaper.
That's not what he's saying. I know he's using big words like uprising, but try to keep up.
You'll have insurrection on your hands, all-out civil war.
Because I refuse to risk my entire garrison to save a single man?
Precisely.
But if you've made up your mind, then there's nothing more to be said. Good day, sir. Come along, Newman.
Kipling, come back here. Now let's get something straight. I know all about this growing unrest, this talk about a general uprising against us. Naturally, I'm doing everything in my power to prevent it.
Yes, we know. We saw the bagpipes. He spouts a little more and chases them out. He calls another officer in.
Inform Troop D to proceed with the planned sortie at once.
Yes, sir. At once.
He already had a raid planned for that camp. He just doesn't think he needs to tell mere civilians. Maybe he wants to surprise them when he brings their friend back. How sweet. Too bad Kipling got wind of it. Obviously, he and Tony want to go along, but if you thought the colonel was ballistic before, just ask him about that. Kipling has a better way.
Well, we can't go as civilians, but we can go as troopers.
Uniforms.
Right. Let's jump into them, shall we?
No peeking, you understand. I'm still British. Hira Singh's men have just started their attack on the supply train. That seems excessive. Here come the soldiers. Tony and Kipling have broken off from them to watch from a safe distance. Maybe not safe. The soldiers arrive and Hira Singh's men retreat. On the way, they find the injured Kipling and bring him along.
You risked your life for me, Sahib.
I couldn't stand there and watch him beat you.
He will make you pay for what you did.
He's going to kill me anyway. I can only die once.
Kashi says, I'm going to help you escape. I'll get away too. I know these hills even without my eyes, and I can hide from them. He arranges a horse and a secret way out, and Doug is on his way to the fort. In the tunnel, Jerry has an idea.
We can't make contact because we don't have enough concentration of power on the coordinates, right?
Right, we've known that all along.
What if we bypass the breaker system? Put one concentrated surge of power into the tunnel.
I can't permit that. We could damage the tunnel beyond the possibility of all repair.
Or we could regain our fix.
It's not his first idea, but it's his best one. They still shoot it down. Too risky. I think we were all afraid that was going to happen. Later, a horse comes to the fort with a near-dead man and a message. Kipling is their prisoner. Doug doesn't care about Kipling right now. Kashi says, I don't have much time.
They know how weak the fort is. They know that the supplies will not come for a long time. He'll surprise them. It is the only way. The only way. Sahib.
Doug was trying to tell the colonel that Hira Singh is planning a huge uprising, and the colonel wouldn't listen. Maybe he'll listen now. As they say, sometimes it's better to apologize than ask permission.
What is it? What happened?
Power surge. Where did it come from?
The image screen, look!
We've got it!
I wouldn't tell them either. Well, if and when Doug and Tony get back, then I might mention that they might have been lost forever if I hadn't...
There must be something you can do.
I know those people, Colonel. You'll never get out alive.
Can't you afford to release just one troop? One quick surprise attack?
No, absolutely no. My decision is final.
More pleading, reasoning, and just plain babbling to see if something good comes out. None of it moves him, and he dismisses them from his office.
You know, those chaps are right. Thing is planning that revolt for tomorrow night.
Well, sir, among my troops, it's already common knowledge.
You feel the only way to prevent it is for us to attack tonight?
Yes, sir, I do.
Unhappily, I can't do that.
I don't understand, sir.
I have a confidential message here, direct from Whitehall.
The gaggle of geniuses back in London have told him to take defensive action only. He may not attack. Now, if he does attack and take out Hira Singh, he can always claim later that he was attacked first. But he's way too British to do something like that.
Your own troops, Major, are brilliant fighters. They've only one weakness, a tendency to ignore official orders.
Besides, why should he take such a chance when he can dump it off on the locals?
To go off on wild forays of their own.
Yes, sir, Colonel, but, I assure you that...
No, Major, I don't need any assurances. I wouldn't dream of trying to change them.
That would be a terrible thing to happen, sir.
Yes, wouldn't it? That's all, Major.
Thank you, sir.
Doug and Tony say, we're going with you. The Major says, no, duh, you've been to their camp. You're our guide. All of Major Kabir's men are in position. Doug has a fair idea where they'll be holding Kipling, so he says, give me a 30-second head start, then tell them to start the attack. That is outstanding. Not only do they have surprise, the collapsing tents cause a nice load of confusion so they can maintain it.
I'll get you out of here.
I know we want to avoid having our heroes kill anybody, but really, he threw that giant knife right into that guy and the dude shook it off. Maybe he's wearing a scimitar-proof vest.
On your feet! On your feet!
He has a bad habit of continuing to exist. Never mind. Well, we won't be hearing any more of his voice, so did you figure it out? If not, here's a hint. The actor's name is Malachi Throne, or Malachi if you prefer. The Colonel is holding a celebratory ceremony and Doug and Tony are supposed to be an important part of it, but they'd rather sit this one out.
Well, in that case, I'd better get him to order you over. Wait here.
Colonel? I thought you said they were here.
Well, they were a second ago.
Yeah, but that was a second ago. That was German on the building, so knowing their luck, they're either in Nazi Germany or behind the Iron Curtain in East Germany. Either way, you know it'll be anything but Oktoberfest. Those guys are saboteurs, and I'm pretty sure those soldiers were wearing Nazi uniforms. That means they're anywhere in Europe, part of Russia, the Middle East, or North Africa. That's good. For a minute, I thought this was going to be hard to figure out. Moments later, those guys reach their objective and blow up whatever it is. You don't go up and pound on the door. You hunker down under the porch where it's nice and dark. But these two excel at doing things wrong. I suppose everybody has to be good at something. At this point, the control room has managed to bring the wrong person back into the tunnel 4 times. Yet, every time they try to bring the right people back, the right people end up somewhere else in dire peril. Why didn't Colonel Travis end up in that bunker on the moon? Or why didn't David end up in school with Plato listening to Socrates? This thing is pinpoint accurate with everybody except the 2 guys they're tracking. Maybe next time they can focus on whatever Nazi goon will be interrogating the boys and try to bring him back. That way they can get Doug and Tony by mistake. Makes as much sense as anything else they've done so far.